I am finally starting a new weaving project on my standard floor loom, and it's been a while. I've been focused on dyeing and on spinning and on weaving on my rigid heddle loom, and now it's time to get back to my biggest baby, my 36-inch shacked standard floor loom. So before I start winding this warp chain for this project, which is a project called Kiki's Bamboo Scarves, and it's a kit from Jane Stafford Textiles, uh, I wanted to plan out how I was going to wind my warp chain so that I would have an easier time threading the loom with no mistakes. This particular pattern makes 3 scarves end to end to end, and it has 364 warp ends, which is pretty substantial. And I know from experience that I tend to rely on little tricks that I'm going to use here uh, to just help me keep track, because there are more frustrating and awful things in life, but not many, than getting your loom all warped up and you're so excited to get going weaving, and then you realize, oh, I've got a threading mistake, and then you have to find it and then you have to fix it, and that's just awful. So to my mind, there's a lot to be gained from just taking a look at the color sequence and doing a little bit of planning before I ever step up to the warping board. So I'm not showing you this whole pattern because it is a someone else's published pattern, and I don't want to violate their copyright. But I don't think anyone will mind if I just show you the warp color order. So this scarf has 4 different colors: cherry, burgundy, turmeric, and gold. And they repeat in a regular sequence, a symmetrical sequence. And if I were really feeling brave, but I'm not, I could try Janet Dawson's amazing turned warp thing, but that's just beyond my capabilities today. So 4 colors, and I want you to notice the pattern. It starts and ends with a, a block of 20 cherry warp ends. So that's easy. When I start winding my warp chain on my warping board, I will just wind 20, and then I can make my time more efficient by perhaps doing, I've done 2 colors at a time before. I haven't tried 4, but I'm going to try it, and Janet Dawson says it's quite doable, so I'm going to try it. I can put each of these 4 colors, burgundy, turmeric, gold, and cherry, in between the fingers of my hand and basically use my hand like a warping paddle as I wind around the chain. And suddenly, 4 colors are getting warped at the same time. Then, after this cherry sequence, I've got a burgundy, cherry, turmeric, cherry. Well, I've only got one uh, cone of cherries. So instead of trying to do 4 at a time, I'll just suddenly switch to doing 3 at a time. And then I'll do the same thing again: cherry, burgundy, turmeric, cherry, burgundy, twice, 2 colors at a time. And then I can go for a couple of repeats. And then I can eventually go back to doing 3 colors at a time and 3 colors at a time. And I'll finish with 4 colors at a time. And then finally, the last little bit will be 20 cherry. So just this little bit of time sussing out how the colors work, and thinking, well, and I'll actually draw in the pattern. I'll draw little lines to divide up when I'm doing 3 colors at a time, and when I'm doing 2, and when I'm doing 4, etc. That little bit of time just planning this out, and then screwing up my courage to the sticking place and doing multiple colors between my fingers in one pass around the warping board, this is going to save me endless amounts of time. And to make things even better, the threading pattern, because, and you'll notice everything's once you get past the 20 threads at the edges, everything's 12. And that happens because the threading is in blocks of 4. So just doing a little simple math, I'll know when I start threading my heddles that if I if I do 3 blocks, 4 ends of burgundy, and then 4 more ends, and then 4 more ends of burgundy, I'll know that if I've got a thread left over or a thread missing, that I've missed something. And that is going to, again, these little mental tricks that help me get through. This is not a wide warp. This is only, I think, 12 inches in the reed, but it's got a lot of ends. Uh, this is these realizations, this 5 minutes I've spent sussing out the pattern are going to, excuse me, prevent me from hopefully making threading mistakes and getting my warp on more efficiently on the loom.